I will be playing a game here with my rating climb account. We are about 1600 rating, and I will be demonstrating my CCTO strategy, checks, captures, threats, optimization. And if you are a regular viewer of this channel, you will know I talk about this so often, but I do this because this is literally the most important strategy. If you use this, you will see massive results in your game. Please trust me. Hundreds, thousands of my subscribers, of my viewers have already increased their rating using this strategy, CCTO. It's a middle game strategy, so first we have to get through the opening. You can use this with every opening, but I always recommend pick something very safe and very solid. I really like the Pegasus system, my own opening system here that I am playing with white, with the knight on d2. It's a little bit strange if you haven't seen this before, but it's a good opening. We have the knight here protecting the pawn. Knight and bishop are working together. In this case, I will take with the bishop because my bishop had not developed yet. And this is an incredible opening for white because basically we have the entire center. We have the pawns in the center, we have the pieces. This knight is also well placed to prevent any troubles here on this side of the board. So that's just for the opening. This is a little bit annoying. I will just play h3. That's a simple threat. We attack the bishop, and I'm hoping that he exchanges. That would make things easier. Then I just get my knight here, and he loses the bishop. So the CCTO strategy, as I said before, checks, captures, threats, optimization. It's a thinking system you use once you are in the middle game. And I think this is the middle game position, or at least it's starting to be one. So what I do is I always calculate every check first. We don't have one. Then I calculate every capture, and we do have a capture. Then we have to question ourselves, does it benefit our position? And the answer is yes, because we create a weakness. So again, checks, no. Captures, no. Threats, we are now at the threats. I do have a threat. It's a simple threat. We attack two pawns at the same time with the queen. What is he going to do to protect them? I am not 100% sure. He might try to play maybe queen to d5. But in any case, we are activating pieces. We are putting pressure on our opponent. It's my opponent who has to think, who has to try to figure out a way to survive this. And if he had played the queen here, which would have been a fine move, I would probably have had some other advantage. Maybe try to play e4, try to make him exchange, try to activate pieces, a bunch of things going on. But my opponent here already makes a mistake. He moves the king, and that gives me a free pawn here, or a free pawn on b7. I think I'll take this one because here it always is a little bit dangerous to take those pawns because their rook might potentially in the future attack there as well. So we already have a free pawn. It's move 11 and we have a free pawn against a 1600 rated player. And this CCTO strategy is just excellent because this is how it always works. We always just get some type of advantage very early because we will find every tactic. So no checks except giving away the queen. I calculate everything, even this, because this gives me IDs, and that's the important thing. Because there are no checks, there are no real captures except giving away pieces, but there is a threat, the threat of activating my knight, potentially forking, potentially doing some type of smothered checkmate as well. So I have to choose between those moves. That's what the CCTO is telling me. Which is the best? I'm not 100% sure. I think this will be the best because it's developing towards the center and also taking aim at this d7 square, so there is never any real counterattack for them. And this is already completely devastating for black. He is down a pawn. We have a simple threat of winning a queen. And we also have a simple threat in many cases of giving a check. If he goes here, check, he goes back, check, he has to take smothered mate with the knight. If that sounds complicated, you should go to pegasuschess.com and check out my checkmating patterns and also my smothered mate lesson, where you will learn this pattern. Okay, he is, I think, playing the best defensive move. I don't think we really have anything immediately. So I will do CCT. I don't see anything, no checks, no captures, no threats. Optimization is the next step. Okay, and this optimizes a knight. Optimizing meaning putting it on a better square, making it more active, moving it closer into the enemy position is also something you could say. So I was thinking maybe I just get a second knight in there and I just try to do the trick twice. That might be a plan, but he is also challenging my knight. So we do have to calculate a little bit what's going on here. I can always take, if he takes with the knight, that's fine. I can always play here, but he takes and he has the opportunity to double pawns. I will take this. And the reason why is very simple. The moment you are up material, you don't have to complicate things. I am just up material. So he is giving me a bunch of trades. I will take all of those trades. We have an extra pawn. I am going to play an endgame. And I'm going to play an endgame with an extra pawn. And it will be one of the easiest endgames that I will have. Hopefully. I don't want to give myself any trouble in advance, but I think it will be easy. Okay, so he's playing this move. I think that's a bad move because I can take and then attack his knight, and it's already on a strange diagonal, but I would be blundering because I would be opening up this. Very, very important. Don't forget about our opponent's move, but it's good that we calculate captures. So yeah, I have to slow down a little bit. Also, if I catch myself missing something like that, I immediately slow down, because that means you are in danger of playing a blunder if you start missing things like this. I take with the bishop because it basically invites us to do an extra trade. So he might just trade an extra bishop and then it's an extra trade. And I'm just going to try to play this in an endgame. He is playing an interesting move here. I think it's protected twice, so I can't do much except go back with the bishop. I think that's the only thing we can do. Go back with the bishop. It's not a problem, but it was an interesting move, I think. It was way more interesting from his side than just exchanging, because if he exchanges, he doesn't have anything except that he is down one pawn. Of course, if you use this playstyle, it is somewhat important that you know your endgames, right? Because I'm just telling you, okay, I have an extra pawn, I have the win, I will win this endgame. Well, that's not true if you don't know your endgames. This is again a bad move, because now we do have the exchange. It's just a simple exchange, and I can activate my knight to the center. I am also preparing to do a fork. So it's already trouble for black. You can also use CCTO in the late middle game and in the end game. So I calculated just from the CCTO, checks, captures, threads, all of that. And we are playing against the 1600, but he didn't see the fork. You should see this. This is just a very basic fork. If you think you might also miss those, if you still miss those, please go to pegasuschess.com, tactics course, free course. Go check out the fork chapter. You don't want this to happen in your games. And you can see how it's actually quite easy to win, even against 1600 rated players, because they just crumble. They just self-destruct, and that's chess. And this happens for a very long time, even at the higher rating levels. Now I think it is time for the next step of the plan, and the next step of the plan is to shut my mouth and play quick, because I am already at 5 minutes. That's incredible. I think I just talked for 5 minutes without really playing. And he has 7 minutes left. I don't know how you can have 7 minutes left and be down 2 pieces. Not to be rude, but you should play more carefully. Okay, what are we going to do here? I think f3 might be a plan, right? We are trying to exchange a little bit. If he takes, I take with the pawn. He might take with the knight, but he's pinning himself to the rook, which might lead to more trades. So I think I will do this. Probably this move loses me a pawn, by the way. This move loses me a pawn, I think, if I calculated that correctly, right? But I don't care about losing a pawn, because I have a winning endgame. I have more pieces than him. So that is just the simple plan. If he takes this with the rook, that's very easy. I will just exchange and I will have a winning endgame, rook versus knight. So I played this to simplify because I didn't want his knight to go to that beautiful square on d3. And if he takes this with the knight, with a check, I will move my king. And that will initiate trades because his knight will be under attack and also pinned. He might try to jump around with a check or whatever, but we are going to get a couple of trades, and that is the plan. I just want to get some trades going, basically, because if we can trade, I will win this endgame. So that is my playstyle. I'm not telling you that you have to give away a pawn to simplify, but it is honestly what I do a lot of the time. Simplifying to the point where even if I give away some material, it doesn't really matter. I think he might try to go for this, but that's all in vain because I can just keep going, basically. Okay, we do have to watch out that we don't blunder any material because he has this extra pawn and I don't want to start giving away more than a pawn. So I think I'll just go here with the king and we will see what's happening. Everything is fine anyways. He is never going to put us into any trouble. I just wanted to exchange that extremely, extremely important pawn in the center of the board. So yeah, I don't think anything's going on. What I'm looking for is something like king here, maybe e4 or e4 first, and then the king here. I just want to exchange the rooks. If I can exchange the rooks, that's an immediate win. So that's the plan. I don't think he has anything. He has some checks, right? Some tricks, but I calculated quite quickly that this doesn't really matter. He doesn't really have anything. So I know it might just look confusing that I went for this variation, but as I said, that's my oversimplification at play. You don't necessarily have to do something like this in your own games, but it is really what I love the most about chess. So quick calculation, we go here, he goes there, that's a check. I go here, he trades the rooks, and I have to make sure my king and the rook are not in a forking position, and it's not the case. So I can push. And I'm looking to exchange that rook, right? I think if we can exchange that rook, that's just going to be a free win, basically. Nothing going on. But as I said, you do have to know your endgames. You do have to be confident in these types of things that you can win this. And if you are less confident, you need to work on your endgames and keep as much material on the board. I mean, don't lose a pawn in the trade. I think I can also go up, or I can go... but I only calculated going here. And the good thing is he doesn't have a single check with his knight. And his knight is under attack. And the rooks are being traded. So it looks like he just has to trade the rooks. It's the only opportunity. And that is what I counted on back when I gave back that free pawn to him. But sometimes I think it's good that you are willing to play something like that. He's playing very interesting moves, but it's not going to work. I think it's even putting him in more trouble now, because I can do this, attack the knight doesn't have a check, and he basically has to exchange rooks. And we are getting into the end game, and it's going to be easy. These two pawns will fall, they will lose, I will grab them with the rook, and then we will win. Way back when, I think it's already almost 10 moves ago, way back when I gave him that free pawn, my calculation way back there was already that he will lose these pawns, that he will lose that. And I say calculation, we have to calculate every check from the knight, but I don't think there's anything. I say calculation, but I more so mean it's like I can envision the future, because I know that the rook will always outplay the knight when it comes down to quickly going from one side of the board to the other. So that's easy win already. This is very predictable chess, but also he loses. The knight is under attack, the pawn falls, everything collapses. And that's pure endgame skill. Being good at simplification, and also, yeah. He will of course try something like knight here, and then I will attack him, and then he will be out of squares, he will have to go here or something. It's going to collapse anyways. Okay, he can also go there with that check, but he doesn't win the pawn. He will always win this pawn, I think, but it doesn't matter because we will queen way sooner on this side of the board. Always when you are playing against the knight, calculate every single check. Always be careful. Knights are very tricky pieces, but I don't think there's anything. And whenever they check you, I always like to stand next to them. They just don't have a single move. They don't have a single move to give you a check, so... this pawn is going to fall anyways, but I think it is most fun if I push it. Because if I push it, he can't take with the knight. If he comes closer with the king, bam, that's a check with the rook. If he pushes the pawn, we exchange. And the knight is already trapped also. I don't know how it is going to get back into the game. Yeah, the knight is also out of the game. Yeah, and this move doesn't help because all of his squares are covered. So he is in big trouble, and we are going to promote 2 pawns versus 1. So as I said, very much more about endgame, I think, than anything else. But that's the strategy. We play a good opening, CCTO, win a pawn, win a piece, and win the game. That's the plan. This is a smart move by him because it'll... Oh, no, I was going to say it's a smart move because then he can play the king without dropping the pawn, but that's false. Look at this knight. Look at this knight. The knight doesn't have any moves. I think that's one of the most funny things I have seen in a long time. And we just have this. We push this pawn. He can't do this. He loses. He can't do anything with the knight. The king is stuck. Rook is creating a cage. and the king can never stop the promotion. And this is what I saw 15 moves ago when I went for that endgame, that he just never stops the queen. So yeah, we make a queen. And then I will simplify even more. I will crash my rook into the knight. I think honestly I could even win the knight, probably if I had played this pattern, because I think I can just trap it. But we are at the point where nothing matters. We just make a queen. But I think I could have attacked the knight, and then if he goes there, trap it. And this is what I mean. Bam, take with the rook. You might think, huh? He takes with the knight, but it's 4 pawns against the king, and we have a queen. So yeah, I sometimes get hate comments about this, that they say I simplify too much, but honestly, it's just free game. Even here, I would normally always play this move. Because if I do something else, there's always an opportunity that you give a stalemate, so you have to calculate. And if you just crash your queen, you give away the queen, you make an extra queen. Life is easy. If you play like that. I will try to just go for the optimal checkmating pattern so that we don't get any hate comments today, but yeah, this is not how I usually play the endgame. This is fine, he has to move the pawn, and then we have a checkmate in 2. I think that's the game. So you can, of course, especially if you have the time, calculate everything. But usually I simplify to the point where there is no calculation needed, because if you don't need to calculate, you also can't make any mistakes. And that was it.